KNTKFM.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
If you missed me, Jake,
Absolutely.
I felt forced and somewhat genuine.
I did see you the other day.
A little bit. That's right. We did see each other yesterday. That is true. It wasn't passing. All right. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Carriker Show, 11 to 1. You know what you're getting, a unique insight and bridled honesty. Producer Jake and I are going to have a whole lot of fun. In the process, lots to talk about. I have not reacted to Scott Frost. Do you think I should react or no?
At some point, I'd like to know, yeah.
Well, since we put it in the headline of the show today, I think the plan is to react. To be honest with you, I wasn't going to because I wasn't here Monday or Tuesday. You know, normally not on Wednesdays. And I was like, by Thursday, it has not passed. I'm still getting texts. I'm at Freddy's last night with my 9-year-old eating ice cream, and a gentleman, very nice, friendly, comes over and chats. Within 30 seconds, what do you think of Frost? Like, he's just like, people are asking me, and I'm like, all right, it's still apparently something that people are very curious about. I've been asked about it quite a bit. So I will react to Scott Frost. All right, his, I was going to say glorious comments with a whole bunch of sarcasm behind him. I can't even make that sarcastic. With what he had to say at Big 12 Media Days, Joel Klatt, I sent you the clip last night, believes that Nebraska will go 10-2. When I sent that to you, what did you think, Jake? Joel Klatt predicting Nebraska will go 10-2. Now, it wasn't like a strong prediction, like this is definitely going to happen, because that would be asinine. You don't know what the heck's going to happen in college football. But he kind of was like, there's this game that's important, and man, I could just see it happening. Like, we'll play the clip later. But what did you think when I sent that to you last night?
Yeah, I mean, a couple different thoughts go through your head. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Joel Klatt, but he does kind of stick up on the opposite side, working for Fox against the SEC to a degree. So he'll stick up for the Big Ten more than usual. It was a little bit surprising. I've seen Joel Klatt. The usual stuff kind of goes to your mind. Is he kind of pandering to an audience that'll make clicks? That sort of thing, because he generally does feel optimistic for Nebraska, in the last couple of years, and it hasn't turned that corner. So there's a little bit of that, but 10-2, that's a big swing, I think.
Well, we'll play that clip in hour 2. Kenny Wilhight, who was at our camp yesterday, along with the ticket being there. DP was on site. Steve Taylor was on site. The Drive, AD, Nick Sainert was on site. He was one of our coaches at the camp yesterday. I'm going to ask, he coached with Frost at Nebraska. So I'm curious to see what he has to say. All right. Kenny obviously had a great career at Nebraska as well. 25 plus years of coaching experience in college football. So we can chat about that as well. And I'm sure I'll have to ask him about Joel Klatt, 10-2. All right. All these things that we're going to get to over the course of the next couple hours. A lot of that will be in hour 2. But 6 former Huskers. All right, real quick. 6 former Huskers highlight the 2025 Nebraska Football Hall of Fame class. 6 Nebraska football standouts. All right, a state college All-American and 2 longtime contributors to the Husker football program will be inducted into the Nebraska Football Hall of Fame this fall. For the first time, For the first time, the Nebraska chapter of the National Football Foundation and College Hall of Fame will also represent a Nebraska Hall of Fame Legend Award as part of its annual banquet. Husker football standouts voted into the Hall of Fame by the chapter's membership include offensive lineman Tom Welter, 1980s. All right, I-back Derek Brown, 1990s era. All right, late I-back Darren Diedrich. All right, 2000 to 2007. I crossed over with Diedrich for 2 years. My first 2 years at Nebraska was his junior and senior year. So I got to know him a little bit, not a ton, just him being a little bit older. I frankly was at a different stage. I don't want to say survival stage, but I was like, my head was spinning as a true freshman and redshirting, and then as a redshirt freshman. I'll never forget Willie Amos. All right, so I redshirt in the fall, then that spring, my first spring ball, we're sitting there one day at the end of winter conditioning. And Willie Amos, you remember Willie Amos?
Oh, absolutely. He's one of my favorite players.
Such a nice dude. Jump rope national champion. I'm sure you're aware of that. Insanely fast. He just starts staring at me and smiling one day. It's like the end of February, a couple weeks before spring ball is going to start, just staring at me and smiling. Not like in a, I don't want to say, it wasn't mean, but it wasn't nice. It was like devious. I'm like, Willie, what's up? He goes, you ain't protected by that red shirt no more, young fella. Them bullets about to be real in 2 weeks. And I was like, oh, that was like, oh, it kind of got me nervous, to be honest. Like, oh, okay, all right. Like, it's completely different when you're redshirting and you're literally like an X on a card following a line and an arrow, all right, because you're doing what the other team's defense is going to do. Hopefully, given the offense that's going to face that team on Saturday, a really good look. But that's very different when all of a sudden now, as he put it, the bullets are real or whatever. Like, now it's a whole nother level. So I do remember that. But I was at a different stage than Diedrich, obviously, who will be a Nebraska Football Hall of Famer and well-deserved. All right, place kicker / punter, Brett Maurer. Shocked by that at all?
Absolutely not.
0% shockage. Also, this one, Kenny Bell. Any shockage?
No, absolutely not.
0 to -% shockage there. Linebacker Bob Nelson was selected by the Hall of Fame board as a veteran inductee, while UNO linebacker Tom Saku is this year's state college representative. All right, let me see. The first Hall of Fame legend honorees will be 1972 Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Rodgers. Additionally, Nebraska Deputy AD Student Services Dennis LeBlanc will receive the Lyle Bremser Special Merit Award, and longtime team orthopedic surgeon Dr. Dugas is the 2025 recipient of the Clarence Swanson Memorial Award. All right, the inductions will officially be held Friday, September 12th. Well, first of all, going back to Dennis LeBlanc, so he's been at Nebraska, forever, seemingly. Academic advisor. He was my academic advisor, along with Keith Zimmer, when I was a student athlete there. I would have never guessed, my freshman year was 2002, I would have never guessed that 21 years later, in 2023, he would be the interim AD. And now he's receiving this special award. But him and Keith, man, they've been doing such great work running one of the top academic departments in the entire country. We have been number 1 or number 2 in academic All-Americans for like 4 decades. So that's well-deserved. But reaction to some of these others, what do you think about a guy like Darren Diedrich, who sometimes honestly gets overlooked? Do you think, I obviously think he deserves to be in, but do you think there's going to be any fans who are a little surprised that Diedrich is getting in or no?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's always just kind of interesting, the timing of some of these guys, right? Bob Nelson and Tom Walter have to wait decades.
Yep.
Darren Diedrich unfortunately has to wait, after he's passed away. And some other guys, obviously Kenny Bell's still kind of very young. As I get older, I guess it's been 10 years now that Kenny Bell's probably played here at Nebraska. But no, I mean, Darren Diedrich, I always kind of think of when they had that championship run with Eric Crouch and the Heisman Trophy winner. He was, I mean, like first team all Big 12, and coming back the next year, he was like predicted to be preseason first team All-American. And obviously, Jamal Lord, a little different than Eric Crouch, although he was very good himself. They put up a lot of offensive numbers, but Darren kind of got hurt a little bit there too. And so didn't have as good of a senior season. So I think that kind of left less of a lasting impression, but his junior season, Darren Diedrich was right up there as one of the best running backs in the country.
All right, Brett Maurer, as we discussed, no surprise whatsoever. Kenny Bell as well. And you made a great point. Like, it literally says right next to Brett Maurer, 2008 to 2015 era, Kenny Bell, 2008 to 2015 era. Then you've got, like you mentioned, Tom Walter from the 1980s, Derek Brown from the 1990s. The timing is interesting sometimes. Like, why are some guys sooner? Why are some guys a little bit later? All right, but they're all well deserving. Couple other quick things here. 2 Husker gymnasts are in all academic All-America honors. And we are still student athletes. Is that correct? Student athletes?
For now.
Is that still a thing? When's the last time you actually heard that term to begin with? Student athlete. When is the last time you've heard that term?
Well, they call it, the designated student athlete for the latest transfer portal. I mean, so that's probably the only time I've heard of it the last couple of months, maybe. But I didn't see, I mean, even Kyle Whittingham's talking about maybe a separation of school and football going to a true minor league at some time. So it might not be student athletes for long.
Well, for now, they are still student athletes, technically. All right. Nebraska men's gymnast Ashton Cohen and Taylor Christophilus were honored Wednesday as both were tabbed for the 2025 Academic All-American at-large team selected by College Sports Communicators. So I'm still a big believer in academics, so I thought that was absolutely worth mentioning. A couple other things real quick. The annual red-white scrimmage for Nebraska Volleyball will be held August 9th, while the first ever alumni match, Jake, will be held on August 16th. Now, someone said, which one are you more excited for? I was like, is that a real question? Is that a real question? Well, I guess that's their version of a spring game. The volleyball team actually having a spring game or late summer, early fall game, I guess we'll call it. The alumni match. What are your thoughts on this? Who's going to make up the alumni team? Are they just going to go down to Love Volleyball and the Supernovas and grab half that squad? Is that a good idea to even do that?
I love it. I mean, I think it's celebrating the history in the volleyball. Nebraska volleyball community is, very close, very, very much does like to look back on the history. That's one thing I appreciate about the volleyball program. I say all the time when I can, if you go to a game, there's just banners everywhere of all the All-Americans, and there's so many All-Americans within that program. There's a lot to choose from. So, I mean, people are going to be excited, obviously, to kind of usher in the new era to see what the new team looks like. But you're right. I mean, they could be just as interesting to see, depending on the teams they put together for the alumni match.
Like if they just go to Love Volleyball, Lexi Rodriguez, Jordan Larson, just to name a couple. I mean, Allie Battenhorst, who people in Nebraska love, but she comes back now after transferring to USC and actually plays in the alumni game. Like, imagine, like, just other players like that on the alumni squad playing our current squad. So as far as the entertainment and draw appeal, I mean, this is off the charts. This is off the charts. This is phenomenal. They should put this in Memorial Stadium. Do you think it would sell out? Because I absolutely think it would sell out. We played UNO that day when it sold out. Love UNO. But this would be another level, don't you think?
I think it definitely could. That would be that would be definitely a tactic they could use. I'd be very interested to see if they ever do that again. Was that a novelty? The fact that, or would Memorial Stadium fill up once again? And like you said, I mean, because it wasn't necessarily from the quality of opponent or match there. It was kind of the first time, let's show the support. What's it look like if you get a big time opponent in, or like this, drawing all the stars?
I think this would sell out again. Do you think it would sell out?
I think so, yeah.
I think it would.
Yeah.
I definitely think it would. I want to know from the fine folks at home, like, what do you think of this alumni match? And if they put it in Memorial Stadium, I forget the exact number we had that day, but it was like 92,000 and some. Jake's going to look it up real quick. All right. Do you think it would sell out? Would we have the same amount of people, possibly more, than when we did at Nebraska Volleyball Day a couple of years ago? And I think this is something where if you do it every other year, not that we couldn't do it every year, but every other year, it keeps it unique and special. And I don't want to say not like the Olympics, because that's the Olympics and that's once every 4 years, but kind of doing something every other year could make it like something people look forward to, but you don't see it all the time. So it's rare, it's unique, it's special. I think it's something that could be highly successful. Did you look up that number?
Yeah, 92,003. Thanks to those.
That was the number in my head, but I didn't have the guts to say it. All right.
Yeah.
Also, now I can say whatever I want. Nobody knows what was in my head, but that was the number that was in my head, technically. All right. Serious question. As much as I love this idea and this concept, serious question. Like, there's going to be a winner and a loser. Like, does the winner and loser on the scoreboard, does it matter that, like, if the alumni beats our current team, does that have some sort of an impact? What if our current team, who is significantly younger than the pro volleyball players who might be playing or have played in the Olympics, what does that mean? I mean, does the scoreboard at the end of this alumni match, because this has to have been talked about when they were even talking about setting this up, does that mean that much? Will that have an impact one way or the other? What do you think there, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a big part of the intrigue, is to see, because when you talk about professional volleyball, obviously there's the those that are just kind of college athletes that don't make it quite to that level, and Nebraska, fortunately, is one of those programs that it probably has more that kind of get opportunities than don't. But you're right. I mean, I think one way we think, well, what would this mean for Nebraska? What would it mean for Olympic style in pro volleyball players to lose to a college team? But it's fascinating. So I think it kind of depends on what the makeup of that team is. Is it a lot of people that are currently still playing, or is it just kind of bringing back playing the hits and a wide variety of ages there?
You make a good point. I just kind of assume they're going to play against alumni that are currently still playing. It just makes the most sense to me. For the Husker games, they originally had like 7-on-7 current Huskers versus former Huskers, and they had all these ideas of actual football happening, at least to some degree, shape, or form, between current Huskers and former Huskers. What I found interesting, and not a lot of details were ever released, but I never heard anything about current Huskers versus former Huskers who are currently in the NFL. It was mostly current Huskers versus former Huskers who haven't played football in a decade and have a microphone in front of their face. I thought that was interesting. But this is a different dynamic if you're playing against people who are sharp, been playing, in shape, older, more experienced to a degree. And I'm not trying to overthink this. For me, these are just things that pop into my head when I think about when you're setting stuff up. How do you do it? Why do you do it? Why do you not do it? What are the pluses? What are the minuses? To be clear, I love this idea. And I don't really think the scoreboard is going to matter as much as I just kind of proposed. I was just curious what your thoughts were. If people have thoughts on the text line, let us know. What's that number?
402-464-5685.
I think it's one of those things where it's going to be, in the moment, they're competitive. But before, after, and probably even during, it's going to be nothing but love. And the scoreboard's going to be whatever it's going to be. And I don't think all that much will be made of it either way. But those are just my thoughts. And I thought it was kind of interesting because it's never been done before, an alumni match like that. And when you think of the alumni that Nebraska has, there's some names. There's some names that are still playing that could come down and play possibly. A lot of them just up the road in Omaha. And then you think about our team. I don't know. Do we know the preseason rankings in volleyball right now? Because I could see Nebraska being preseason number 1. Definitely in the top 4, 3, or 2. I don't know if we know the preseason rankings yet. Probably a bit early. But what if it's like the number 1 team in the country and the match is against like Jordan and Lexi, et cetera, et cetera? I can go list a whole bunch of names. But, what if it's someone like Christina Hoteling comes back, and I don't know if she's played volleyball in a while, or Sarah Pavin. I mean, these are national award winners, Olympians, world champions, some of them. So I think it would be quite interesting, but I think it's mostly going to be a lot of fun and mostly love. So have we gotten anything on the text line on that or not?
Let's see here. Rod in South Lincoln says, no, it means nothing on who wins. It is for pure entertainment value. There is no national championship at stake. Hey, Dog says, John Cook coaches the alumni team. DBK coaches the new Huskers. Now, that's the headline we'll catch them on.
I like that one. Now we're having fun with it.
And 1097 says, hey, Adam, it's not a dad bod. It's a father figure. I think that would be an awesome idea.
Okay, so he was at the camp yesterday because I saw that shirt.
Oh, really? That's good, yeah.
Yeah, they're going through the autograph line at the end, and the shirt says, it's not a dad bod, it's a father figure. And I'm like, that's a phenomenal shirt. Where'd you get? I want one of those. Where'd you get that? And apparently it's like, I forget. So if I say this wrong, text in and let me know. I think he said his wife had it made or somebody had it made. I was like, I want to go on. I'm too lazy to have something made, but I'm just like, I want to go online and get that shirt. That was a phenomenal shirt. So shout out to you, my friend. Okay, I will say this. When we come back at break at 11:30, I will give my reaction to Scott Frost and some of the comments he had to say and things of that nature. In the meantime, I got a few random things that have accumulated over the past few days that I thought the fine folks might find interesting. All right. So this was actually tweeted out by Brock Purdy. Farmageddon, which is Iowa State versus Kansas State. Is it really called that, or did he just make it up for the tweet? Do you know that?
It's called that. I don't know if it's like official, but it's called that. Yeah.
Okay. Farmageddon, Iowa State versus Kansas State, is the longest uninterrupted FBS rivalry in history, stretching back to 1917. That will end in 2027. That 2027 football season here he wrote 110 years. What? After 110 years. That makes more sense. Okay, because that's only a couple years from now. Iowa State leads the series 54-50 and 4 ties. All right, and then he tweets at the Big 12 Conference, there is time to fix this. Protect the rivalry. I remember And what popped into my head immediately? Nebraska and Kansas had played forever. Nebraska and Missouri had played for a long time. And obviously, you had the rivalry and the bell that the team would win afterwards, and trophy, so to speak, of a bell that you would carry off the field if you won the game. A lot of these, like Texas A&M had played forever. Now they're going to start playing again. There's threats of Notre Dame, USC not being around. And I fully expect Lincoln Riley to say, we good. We don't need to play a Big Ten slate plus Notre Dame. All right. And Notre Dame's like, hey, we need some people to play. We'll join a conference. All right. Stop having your cake and eat it too. Although if I could have my cake and eat it too, I would do it. It's everyone else that needs to take the cake away or let them stop eating it. Make them join a conference. Maybe this is one of the things that will push them that direction, but we'll see. My point that I'm getting to is a lot of these rivalries, and I was honestly not aware of Farmageddon, Iowa State, Kansas State, dating back once we get to 2027, 110 years of every year that game being played. I wasn't aware it was that in depth or that much of a rivalry to that degree, but losing these rivalries potentially, like I'm trying to think of other ones that are left. Army, Navy. And technically, Oregon State still play each other, but I could see Oregon at some point saying, nah, we good. Same thing with Washington State. That's called the Civil War, Oregon State, the Apple Cup, Washington State. Unless you are directly in the same conference. Like Cal Stanford right now is safe, but how long are they going to be in the ACC? We'll see. All right, Florida State. That's an out-of-conference rivalry that's heated, been going on for a long time. Are they going to keep doing it? What do you think of these rivalries? Some of them more longer tenured, some of them big brand versus big brand. We're starting to lose these, not starting, but really losing a lot of these with just the way college football is going.
Well, it's really unfortunate. I mean, those are they're games that you look forward to every year. Some of them placed on similar weekends, getting into rivalry weekend. I mean, we've lost Bedlam, we've lost Oklahoma State. That one's really close to me.
Yes.
So that's frustrating as we see kind of conference realignment adjustment, and it's obviously impacting Nebraska. We saw Colorado's AD Rick George say the other day they'd like to play Nebraska every year. Nebraska, as we know, because it's canceling the Tennessee series, probably wouldn't be interested in something like that. And so we're going to see a lot of these teams, if it's out of conference, that's kind of where it gets to have an annual out of conference game when you're playing in the Big Ten or the SEC is going to be difficult. So we'll see. I mean, it's part of this. It's one of the saddest parts of college football evolving, if you will. There's pros and cons about what we've seen over the last 10, 15 years. There's pros and cons about what we're going to see in the next 10 to 15 years. But losing some of those rivalries certainly has been a con.
Yeah, for sure. All right, a couple of other things. And I'm getting a little bit more interested in the NBA again. You'll notice that. Like I've got a bunch of NBA screen grabs or stats or this or whatever. Like I haven't seriously watched the NBA since 2017, Cavs, Warriors. I've just kind of been checked out to a degree. That final series really kind of got me excited again. And unfortunately, the injury in Game 7 made the game, the separation in the score, a little bit wider than we would have liked. And hopefully he comes back healthy, Halliburton, that is, with the torn Achilles. But man, I really enjoyed a lot of the playoffs. I don't want to say a big Pacers fan, but I'm gaining a much more rooted interest in the Pacers because I like the way they play. All right. And so here's a couple of things that I thought were interesting. All right. The last 4 MVPs who played all 82 games. I'm not going to make you try to guess what years these guys played. Can you try to guess the names?
I've played all 82 games.
The last 4 guys who won MVP and played all 82 games.
Russell Westbrook? No. I'll just go through those. Kevin Durant? No. I'll
give you a hint.
Giannis?
The last one happened in 2007.
Okay, so yeah, that's a good hint because I was going back recently. Kobe?
Yep, Kobe. All right, there's one. Before that, it was 2003.
Tim Duncan?
That's 02, but I'll give it to you.
Okay.
All right.
Shaq?
Nope.
Yeah, that'd be allowed to play all games. 2003. Iverson?
Kevin Garnett.
Okay.
Kevin Garnett. And the other one is 97. So you get one guess. You don't get it right. Michael Jordan. It has been almost 20 years. That's crazy to me. The load management or whatever. To me, I'm a football player. I don't understand load management. I understand bang, 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 bang. All right. And then this was honestly, I wasn't surprised to see this. If you watch the 92 Dream Team and the 92 Olympics, nobody was close. Nobody was close. Nobody was ever close. There was no reason for them to call a timeout. The Dream Team, though, never called a single timeout in the 1992 Olympics. I thought that was the most random, interesting stat. And the last thing before we head to break here, Jake, you probably saw this. Minnesota has extended head coach PJ Fleck through the 2030 season. My quick thoughts are Nebraska fans probably won't like it. Minnesota, for them, I think it's honestly the right move and a great move.
Going into his 9th year at Minnesota, if you can believe that. They're rowing the boat strong down there. Just looking at them this morning, they're an interesting team. They've got some good star power on both sides of the ball this year, but they got to replace a lot. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, you have heard about the Farrell's 10-week challenge for years on the ticket. If you still haven't joined us for this amazing challenge, what are you waiting for? You could be our next $1,000 winner like Derek, who just lost 30 pounds, 23 inches, and 8% body fat. Derek changed his life in the 10-week challenge, and so can you. Farrell's combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching to get you the results you have been waiting for. Join us July 12th for the Summer 10-Week Challenge. Go to fxblincoln.com to enroll today.
It's never too late to start protecting your company's data from cyber attacks. Your customers put their trust in you to keep their information safe from online threats. Don't let them down. Partner with Hamilton Business Technologies to get real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and experts who monitor it all for you. We care about the success of your business and the communities you serve. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Lights out? Let LES know where to go. Powerline matches your phone number to your service address so LES can respond to outages faster. Keep your information up to date at les.com/powerline.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see a chance of showers and storms. Otherwise, partly sunny, breezy, and hot with a high around 98. Tonight, a chance of showers and storms, below around 71. And tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms likely throughout the day, and afternoon high around 90. Meteorologist Kyle Clatt for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are kids better off in an intact family? You bet they are. This is Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Kids living in a household with married parents do better in school, they're emotionally healthier, and they're more likely to stay out of trouble with the law. If you're in a troubled marriage, of course you should do everything you can to save your marriage, if only for your kids' sake. This includes considering alternatives to divorce. Of course, in some circumstances, divorce is unavoidable. In either case, if you're a man facing a crisis in your marriage, let us help you at Cordell & Cordell. Remember, we're the partner men can count on.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Lincoln area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in downtown Lincoln, Cordell & Cordell, 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska, 68508.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the second season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. All right, Jake, has anything come through on the text line recently we should chat about? And if something does during this segment or the rest of the show, just let me know.
Just some comment here from Bill and Bennett says, kudos to the turnout at your football camp yesterday. Adam, keep up the good work.
I appreciate it. It was a blast. A lot of hard work went into it. A lot of people helped. It was pretty cool to see the kids having fun. It was cool to see legit learning from some of the best to ever wear the scarlet and cream. And we also had like Nebraska Wesleyan's D coordinator was actually helping with the group as well, and their D-line coach. And, you know, we had, I think it was 14 coaches there who had played collegiately or in the NFL and or coached collegiately or in the NFL. 35 total coaches, a lot of youth coaches, a lot of high school coaches, whether it be local offensive coordinators, whatever the case may be. A lot of people there helped out with the camp. So I thought that was very, very cool. Hopefully it's something we can keep doing every year, brings the community together, something cool for the kids. All right, they can be around some cool people, learn some football, and hopefully create some memories as well. This was sent to me during the break. Apparently I can buy the shirt.
Okay.
It's not a dad bod. It's a father figure is indeed online. So I've got to make a note to go buy that shirt now, because that is that. Do you think you have a dad bod, Jake? Objectively, do you think you do?
More so than I did before I was a dad. Yeah.
It's funny how that works. It is funny how that works. All right, Scott Frost. Now I have not heard your take on this. All right. I'm sure you've shared it at some point, but this is an individual. Everybody's probably heard the quote by now when he was asked, you know, what he learned from his time at Nebraska. Don't take the wrong job, essentially. Okay. Is what he said. Here's the quote if you haven't heard it. Been living under a rock somehow, but here it is. And I quote, "Don't take the wrong job. I said I wouldn't leave UCF unless it was something you could win a national championship or some place you could win a national championship. I got tugged in a direction to help my alma mater and didn't really want to do it. It wasn't a good move. I'm lucky to get back to a place where I was a lot happier." End quote. it was interesting when I heard that. My initial thought was, I'm just going to be honest, I was 0% surprised. It's not the first time he's taken shots at Nebraska, or whether you like or don't like Trev Alberts. I mean, he didn't specifically say him in the past, but he's made it very clear he does not have warm feelings about his time here, what happened here, people here, et cetera, et cetera. So I was 0% surprised. If you watched his press conferences, you could kind of get this vibe. Obviously, I chatted with him a few times, and I shared this. It was either a year or two ago. I only shared it one time on this show, but I shared it, so it's not the first time I've shared it. After his first spring game, so he hadn't coached an actual game yet here at Nebraska. We're in the weight room afterwards, and we're talking, and I can see he's like very flustered. I can just see it. And I guess there was recruits upstairs. Like, I got to get upstairs to get there. I'm just trying to keep my head above water. And he goes, when I was at UCF, I could just do whatever the hell I wanted. And he turned around and burst out. And I was like, that line, when I was at UCF, I could do whatever the hell I wanted. And then just left. I was like, that kind of hit me. But, you know, we all have days where we're overwhelmed, where we're flustered. It's his first spring game. I'm sure he's got some, he's anxious. He's probably got some big-time recruits upstairs. Unfortunately, we would learn later on that actually talking to 4- and 5-star recruits wasn't as important to him as it should have been. Unfortunately, we would find out later. I just remember thinking, wow, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because everyone has those days, whatever the case may be. But that line, I could do whatever the hell I wanted to at UCF, has always stuck with me. It was just kind of like, and I didn't know what was to come. I didn't know what was to happen, but I was just kind of like, does he not want to be here? No way. No way he doesn't want to be here. You wouldn't move your family halfway across the country. You wouldn't move from Orlando to Lincoln if you didn't want to be here. But here we are all these years later. Turns out he felt obligated or whatever the case may be. I will say this. I don't recall ever hearing him decline a check. I don't recall a check like he got paid $35+ million. Even it was at the end of his first or second year, he got like a pay raise or an extension from Moose or whatever. So I don't recall ever hearing those things not go through and those things not work on his behalf. So for me, you don't have to go someplace if you don't want to. You don't have to cash a check if you don't want to. But beyond that, his time here did not go the way anybody wanted it to. Frankly, not many people saw it going the way that it did. 16-31 overall, 10-22 in the Big Ten. Obviously, a lot of one-score losses. I think what sticks with me the most now, aside from the wins and losses being so lopsided in the L department versus the W department, obviously that's incredibly disappointing for everyone involved. Nobody wanted that. The refusal to look in the mirror, the refusal to accept responsibility, the refusal to just say, maybe I could have done some things differently. Maybe I could learn from this. Maybe I could be better in the future going forward. The finger pointing at everything and everyone else is just like, oh my God. Like, I feel like I'm dealing with one of my kids who's like, no, I didn't do it. They did it. They did it. They did it. They did it. This literally just happened. Something was taken out of one of my daughter's rooms the other day. Nobody did it. It's amazing how nobody did it. All of a sudden, we take electronics away. Everybody's grounded until somebody admits it. 5 minutes later, the culprit came forward. I can't take anything away from Scott Frost, nor would I want to, but my point is the refusal to just accept responsibility as the head coach when he had everything at his disposal. Greg Austin looked at me at one point, and again, this was before he'd ever coached a game, and he said, Bill Moose has given Scott everything he's asked for. Everything he's asked for, Bill has given to him. Now, I don't know what all he asked for. I didn't ask for details or specific requests, but Bill gave it to him. And then things go the way they go. And continuing to just take shots back at Nebraska. And this is the state that I love. And when I think about the state of Nebraska, There's more to the state than the university. But when you think about what people think of Nebraska, they think of the university. So when you take shots at the university, at the football program, you're taking shots. To me, it comes across like you're taking shots at the entire state. That's how I feel. That's how it comes across to me. And it's a state that I love. And I think that bothers me on another level as well. There's this other thing where just let it go. Now, in his defense, he was asked, what'd you learn from your time in Nebraska? So Nebraska was brought up to him. In his defense, he didn't bring Nebraska up out of nowhere. It was brought up to him. But there's this thing where you say, it didn't go the way we wanted. I'm now focused on what I'm doing at UCF. If you don't want to accept responsibility, I'm focused on UCF. And just leave it at that. He's even said in previous interviews, I don't want to talk about Nebraska. Then he talks about Nebraska. Or you can just simply say, I'm focused on UCF. I wish them nothing but the best there in Lincoln. That's my alma mater. Okay. But I'm focused on coaching at UCF. If you don't want to address it at all, don't want to accept responsibility, that's one option. Option A. Option B, it didn't go the way I wanted. I learned a few things. Hopefully I'm a better coach going forward for it. And you move on. And you decline to answer any more questions. But it's a meat grinder. I didn't want to be there. It's not my fault. It's somebody else's fault. They did it. It wasn't me, et cetera, et cetera. Like, at some point, just like let it go, because it's interesting. I know there's people in the state of Nebraska, and I don't fault people either way, to be clear with you, who have not been a fan of Frost since he was let go. And some of the things that have been said before Big 12 Media Days. And there were some people who would give him the benefit of the doubt. I get both ways. As an overall whole, I felt like Nebraskans had actually been really gracious towards Frost. Being a former quarterback, winning a national championship in 97 with his team. I was like, that's cool. You know, you give your own a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. And I'm cool with that. I don't feel like it's been reciprocated at all, because had that happened, like let's say you're a University of Texas alum and you go back and you coach there and it doesn't go well at all, and then you're bashing the school consistently afterwards. I have a feeling Texas fans would be firing back at them with a lot more vigor than Nebraska fans have. Do you feel like that's a fair statement? Because I feel like as a whole, Nebraska fans have given him the benefit of the doubt quite a bit up until Big 12 Media Days. Is that a fair statement or not?
I mean, I think so. I think altogether, there's pockets of them that don't, as in any fan base. So I don't know. But yeah, no, in general, I don't, I think he's generally welcome back, right? And all that sort of stuff. But after this, I mean, again, for all the reasons you're kind of throwing out there, I find it, even myself, I was planning on cheering for him at UCF, hoping things go well. And the more that he continues to go back and talk about Nebraska and make excuses, just like, dude, you're making it hard to cheer for you over here.
And it was just earlier this summer, something was said, and people were, was it Frost? I don't even remember what it was now. He said something, and some media around here talked about it. And then there was a gigantic debate of, why do we talk about Scott Frost? Everybody just wants clicks. That's why they bring up Frost. I understand what people are saying. And I kind of view those as a little bit more along the lines of the Frost defenders, because and that's okay. My response has always been, he won a national title. Let's be honest, on the field, Husker legend, former Nebraska football coach. Like, if Bo Pelini does something, it's newsworthy. If Tommy Frazier does something, it's newsworthy. Hopefully it's positive stuff. But my point is, if Scott Frost does something, it's newsworthy. This is a guy that grew up Wood River, played high school ball here. Like, I've never understood, let's just completely ignore the guy. You shouldn't talk about him at all. I've never understood that. Like, he is newsworthy, which, by the way, it's a compliment to be newsworthy. Now, what the news is, maybe one way or the other. But I've never quite understood that. I will say this, when people say, oh, they just want clicks, it's interesting because you and I don't sit here with microphones and a camera and everything else hoping that you and I are the only ones that listen to the show. I hope there's people out there listening. But to say you do it for clicks means you're being disingenuous, and you're only doing something and you're only stating something a certain way because you're trying to get attention, rather than this or is not newsworthy. I can honestly say, like, as far as doing something for clicks, not interested. I don't want to say I don't need it, because I hope people are interested in the show, but I'm interested in talking about things that are newsworthy. And to me, Scott Frost has been newsworthy. It's kind of gotten to a point to me now where I may just let it lie since he won't. Like, I might just let it lie. But up until this point, I found him newsworthy. But I can honestly say you and I have never done anything or phrased anything or put something a certain way just to get attention. Because if you watch my show, every day I walk in here with so much stuff to talk about. It's just not necessary, and it's also not who we are. But up until this point, Scott Frost has been newsworthy. Honestly, going forward, he's still newsworthy. You and I will just have to chat about how much of that news pertaining to Scott Frost we actually just genuinely want to talk about at a certain point. All right. If you got any thoughts, reactions, you agree, disagree, let us know on the text line. And don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's never too late to start protecting your company's data from cyber attacks. Your customers put their trust in you to keep their information safe from online threats. Don't let them down. Partner with Hamilton Business Technologies to get real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and experts who monitor it all for you. We care about the success of your business and the communities you serve. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes! Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. Visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sartorheyman.com.
Sartor Heyman Jewelers.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Hi, folks. The weather is for sure heating up, and Koppel Chevrolet GMC is following suit. The discounts are really as good as they've ever been. $14,500 off list price, or 0% financing on select new models. Folks, you heard that right. Smoking hot deals at Koppel. $14,500 off list price, or 0% APR. So take that short drive down 144th Street or at koppelcars.com. STK number G269520. All deals with trade-in and approved credit.
Take control of your health with the DASH scan at Advanced Medical Imaging. The DASH scan is a full-body MRI designed for advanced health screening. This dynamic approach provides exceptionally sharp images across multiple organ systems, helping to detect potential concerns early. With minimal radiation and no invasive procedures, the DASH scan offers a safe, comprehensive look at your health. Plus, results are delivered faster than ever, giving both patients and physicians confidence in screening and diagnosis. Your health is too important to wait. Schedule your DASH scan today at Advanced Medical Imaging. Visit amimaging.com or call 402-484-6677 to learn more.
Play ball!
Pitch the perfect idea for a family outing or date night with tickets to the next Salt Dogs game. Nothing says summer fun like an action-packed evening at Haymarket Park. Come root for the home team with a hot dog and a cold drink. Plus, visit saltdogs.com to learn about special events and promotions, including group discounts. Don't miss out on the thrill and excitement of a Salt Dogs win. Visit saltdogs.com to reserve your tickets today.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Are kids better off in an intact family? You bet they are. This is Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Kids living in a household with married parents do better in school, they're emotionally healthier, and they're more likely to stay out of trouble with the law. If you're in a troubled marriage, of course you should do everything you can to save your marriage, if only for your kids' sake. This includes considering alternatives to divorce. Of course, in some circumstances, divorce is unavoidable. In either case, if you're a man facing a crisis in your marriage, let us help you at Cordell & Cordell. Remember, we're the partner men can count on.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Lincoln area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in downtown Lincoln, Cordell & Cordell, 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska, 68508.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. We got about 4 minutes left to dedicate to Scott Frost, and then we're going to move on come hour 2. Now, somebody texted me, Andy Jurassic texted me, it's called Frost Fatigue, and I thought that that was perfect because my wife, I told you this during the break, my wife was the first one to text me Frost quotes. She saw it. She's like, oh, crap. This is starting to go viral. She sent it to me. She's like, are you going to do a show on it? Now, I knew I wasn't going to be back at the Ticket till Thursday. I haven't done a Chronicles in a month or two. And I was like, my response was, Angie, should I do a show on this? Yes. Is this newsworthy? Yes. Do I want to? No. Which is why I haven't talked about it till today. I kind of hoped it would, it's not blowing over. I go to frickin' Freddy's and I got people asking me at the camp. I got people asking me. So we got about 3 more minutes now, and then we're going to move on. You got anything on the text line there, Jake?
Yeah, a few different thoughts. Tommy says, in all seriousness, my biggest issue is his lack of accountability. I was his biggest defender, but I can't root for someone who refuses responsibility. Thomas in Lincoln says, do you think he would come down for the reunion?
Well, so the reunion for the 97 national championship team, is that what there's, or 95?
The 95.
95, because he was on that team as well. Okay, versus Michigan. So he's going to be coaching, so he can't. So let's phrase it. If he could, would he come? No way. There's no way. No. And I've said for years, because Solich came back 20 years later. All right, Nebraska has a habit of bringing people back because we want to take care of our own. And Frank Solich is one of our own on multiple levels. I've said it might take 40 years with Frost, and thankfully Frost is younger. But one day he'll be welcome back here. I've always said this, though. I said if it doesn't happen, I think it'll be more Frost being upset with us, so to speak, than us being upset with him. And this sure isn't helping that case at all. All right, anything else?
No, completely agree with you on that. Just one last thing. Bill and Bennett says there should be a picture of Scott Frost right next to the word schmuck in the dictionary.
I didn't know if you were going to read that on air because you told me during the break. Oh, boy. Yeah. All right.
Well, it lets you know what, the level of frustration people are getting with a guy. Like I said, I mean, 2 of those texts, one is, I tried to defend this guy, tried to do it. And then, at this point, I'm sure that person at one point was supporting Scott Frost. And look where we've come. And by the way, I mean, that's kind of the bigger thing to me, too, as, if you kind of step back and look at the macro part of this, is there is always an argument about, especially, the divorce from Frank, leaving Frank, should Nebraska stick close to the Tom Osborne tree or not? And at times it was like, well, yeah, I mean, Frank Solich and Bo Pelini, who Tom hired, they've at least had the best results compared to the going away from the Tom Osborne tree. But look at the quote unquote Tom Osborne tree, tough to say now, but with former players. Could you imagine when Tom Osborne retired telling you in 2025 this would be where Scott Frost and Trev Alberts are?
No, not at all. I could have imagined a lot of things, how things would look in 2025 at this point, but for those specifically, no, I could not. And this is a point you made during the break, so credit to producer Jake. You said when they took play calling duties away from Frost and gave it to Whipple, it's almost like that was the big sign. This isn't working, big sign. And you said it's like almost like they were trying to force it to work. And then you made a great point. If Frost is your head coach and he's not calling plays, do you now have him here because of his relationship? How'd you phrase it? His ability to lead or something?
To lead young men. I don't think that's necessarily, that's what I will never understand.
Leadership
year
qualities,
5.
that's what you said.
Yeah, I'll never understand year 5. That was just coming off 3-9. I mean, I get it. They felt they were close, but my goodness.
Like, if he's not calling plays, he's not here for his leadership qualities, so to speak. So that was a gigantic red flag at the time. All right, so in the future, I mean, here's my opinion. Clicks be damned, Scott Frost is newsworthy. The question is, do we want to talk about the next time something comes up with Scott Frost that's newsworthy? You and I will discuss at said time because it's going to happen. But for now, we're going to take a break. Hour 2 is upon us. Joel Clatt, we're going to play the clip, believes Nebraska's going to go 10-2. All right. Kenny Wilhight, who coached with Scott Frost at Nebraska, will join us at 12:10. And a whole bunch of other topics we're going to cover. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
In today's digital world, technology works great until it doesn't. At Hamilton, we work to keep your business up and running. We are more than an IT company. We're your partner, focused on customized solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Say goodbye to tech stress and unexpected IT costs when you hire Hamilton. Together, we help you focus on what really matters. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
Are kids better off in an intact family? You bet they are. This is Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Kids living in a household with married parents do better in school, they're emotionally healthier, and they're more likely to stay out of trouble with the law. If you're in a troubled marriage, of course you should do everything you can to save your marriage, if only for your kids' sake. This includes considering alternatives to divorce. Of course, in some circumstances, divorce is unavoidable. In either case, if you're a man facing a crisis in your marriage, let us help you at Cordell & Cordell. Remember, we're the partner men can count on.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Lincoln area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in downtown Lincoln, Cordell & Cordell, 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska, 68508.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see a chance of showers and storms. Otherwise, partly sunny, breezy, and hot with a high around 98. Tonight, a chance of showers and storms, below around 71. And tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms likely throughout the day. An afternoon high around 90. Meteorologist Kyle Clatt for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Play ball!
Pitch the perfect idea for a family outing or date night with tickets to the next Salt Dogs game. Nothing says summer fun like an action-packed evening at Haymarket Park. Come root for the home team with a hot dog and a cold drink. Plus, visit saltdogs.com to learn about special events and promotions, including group discounts. Don't miss out on the thrill and excitement of a Salt Dogs win. Visit saltdogs.com to reserve your tickets today.
Rick Heyman here from Starter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. Visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at starterheyman.com.
Starter Heyman Jewelers.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everidge. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to hour 2. Numero dos of the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. We got a lot to get to. Joel Clatt says Nebraska is going to go 10-2. We got that clip to play here in just a minute. And he's got a couple of key games that stand out to him. Do Jake and I agree about 10-2? Doesn't seem likely right off the top, although it can obviously happen. Just freaking look at SMU and Indiana last year. But what are the most important games of the year? They're going to dictate 6-6, 8-4, 9-3, 7-5, 10-2. And the like. Kenny Wilhight is going to join us at 12:30. That interview will now be at 12:30 as well. But before we dive into those topics, light that candle. Jake, again, I want to thank everyone at the Ticket for being on site at the inaugural Carriker Chronicles football camp yesterday. Nick and AD were there, the drive show, then Steve Taylor, you, DP. I appreciate everyone who swung by. Got you all T-shirts. Does the T-shirt fit nicely, my friend?
Absolutely.
You know why?
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's a father figure, not a dad bod, my friend. All right, dude. What'd you think of the camp? What were your impressions? And did you have a good time?
Oh, absolutely. It was very, very cool out there in Lincoln Youth Football Fields. Like I've already seen around town a couple of those shirts popping up. So, it was very successful and just is very well organized. A lot of star power out there. It's awesome to be a small part of it, to be out there to see what was going on there. And, I want to thank you because it's just really cool. There's a lot of things that can be done throughout life and everybody kind of finds their own things that kind of draws them. But for me, I think it's always very impactful to be able to provide a memory for a core memory, maybe for young people, and specifically maybe create Husker fans as part of that as well for me. But in general, that's what was really touching about it, is that these are memories that these kids are going to have. They're going to go back from summer and talk about what they did, and that day will be part of it. So I think that it's phenomenal. I think a big moment in a lot of people's lives.
I want to thank everybody who was involved. I mentioned some of this the first hour, but I want to make sure I thank everybody that was involved. There was almost 50 people, I believe 48 was the exact number, who helped with the camp in some way, shape, or form. So thank you to each and every one of you. I did mention this. There was 35 coaches there. And again, several of them played at a high level, coached at a high level. But I appreciate each and every person, the high school coaches, the youth coaches, everyone who came and volunteered, dedicated their time. All right. And it was kind of one of those things where I think I was chatting with it was Nate at Channel 8 afterwards. He's like, why do something like this? And we did it where we lived a couple of years ago. And the idea was nobody had ever done something like that there before. I'm just going to be blunt. I had seen divisiveness in the youth sports community there. It's crazy if you're not involved in youth sports. If you've been around it, a lot of times it brings people together. A lot of times it can unfortunately have the opposite impact. And I was like, man, I just want to I legit reached out to every single high school coach, reached out to as many people as I could because I wanted to bring everyone together. That was the idea. Something for the community, for the kids, bring people together, hopefully make a positive impact. So when we moved here, youth sports is friendlier here than it was there. So that's a good thing. All right. Because this should be all about the kids. And for me, I was like, man, if it's going to be about the kids, let's hopefully do something where they learn some football. They get to be around some really cool people. They get to have fun and meet some really cool people, get some autographs, and create a memory, like you said, that hopefully sticks with them for quite a while. All right. It's funny, the things that we do and don't remember sometimes. My wife doesn't always appreciate the things that I don't remember. Okay. But when I was in second grade, they did like a raffle drawing at our school. And if your name got called, you got taken home that day on a fire truck. My name got called out of everybody in the elementary school. I remember it plain as day to this day. Riding home on that fire truck, they turned on like the alarm, and not for very long, but for like 10 seconds, turned it on. And to this day, that kind of stuck with me. And it's a very cool thing. And so, you never know the impact that something's going to have on someone, but I'm kind of hoping it's something that brings the community together. Hopefully the kids, like you said, hopefully it's a core memory that sticks with them, at least for a while, if not hopefully long term. And it's something that can have a positive impact in the community going forward. Several people asked me afterwards, is this going to become a yearly thing? And yeah, that is the plan, for it to be a yearly thing, especially since people seem to enjoy it. I will say this, the one thing I would like to see different next year, I want to see more girls. So we had a great turnout. Thank you to everyone who came. 260 kids registered. One kid, the parent messaged us the morning of that the last minute something happened, they couldn't be there. So 259 kids at the camp, just over 250, 4 girls. That's awesome. Now the Carrikers brought 2 of them. Okay. I want to see more girls at the camp next year. All right. It was awesome, the amount of boys and girls that showed up. But I just want to see, because I love the idea, Matt Rule's girls camp that he has, and LYF is growing girls flag football. And I think that that's a cool thing. I'm partial. I've got 5 girls, Actually, I've got 2 of them who really love football. really love football. I've talked about that previously on the show, but it was awesome. I want to say thank you to the coaches and everyone who was involved. All right. Time to talk about the big boys. 10-2. Lock it in. What's your prediction? 10-2? I'm going to hold you to this for eternity, Jake. Yes or no?
I would say no at this point.
All right. You got the Joe Clatt clip ready?
I do.
All right. Go ahead and roll it, my friend.
Nebraska is going to check in at number 10. They were right there in a bunch of games last year. They went 2-5 in one-score games. Can they turn it around? Yeah, they probably can. They're going to have a returning quarterback in Dylan Raiola, who was just a true freshman. So, yeah, you could say he made a lot of mistakes last year. But remember, you get some experience going and you get the continuity of having your coach back now for Matt Rule. I think that they can probably take a little bit of a jump. You look at their year last year, it was progress. Year 2 with Rule was almost really good, except for those one-score games, which I know you could be saying forever for Nebraska, but they snapped that 7-year streak without a bowl. That's progress. And then historically for Matt Rule, year 3 has been a jump. You look at what he did at Temple, what he did at Baylor. He won at least 10 in year 3 at both locations. So is that a possible jump this year? You know, he's got an experienced quarterback. They upgraded at the wide receiver position from last year. Dane Key in from Kentucky, Hunter from Cal. They got some O-line help amongst their transfers. And then on defense, the front seven has to replace some really good players, whom I was very impressed with a year ago. They played really well, in particular, even in a loss against Ohio State in the middle of that defensive line. But there's a lot of experience in that secondary still. To me, now it comes down to schedule. They've got a real shot to be 7-1 in their first 8 games going into November. Now, will they be? I'm not sure. They're going to have to win some of those close games, which historically has been a real issue for Nebraska. And then November doesn't seem that difficult. USC, probably their most difficult. At UCLA, bye week. At Penn State, clearly their toughest game. And then an Iowa game, which is obviously going to be huge for them late in the year. The key game for me is that USC game. They have that Michigan game early. Do they have to win that one? Probably not. Do they have to beat Penn State? Probably not. But then you look at that November 1st SC game, and that's the one that I'll be kind of looking at. And then you look at the ending of their schedule. If they can get past USC, even if Michigan were to beat them, even if Penn State were to beat them, now you look at that Iowa game, and now you're like, okay, do we have a chance at 10-2? I think 10-2, Nebraska probably goes.
All right. So a few things here. I was making notes because every time you hear something, you tend to take something new out of it, even if you've heard it before. So here's the notes that I took while he was talking. And obviously I'd heard that clip before. Year 3, Matt Rule's never won less than 10 games in year 3. At Temple, 10-2, Baylor, 11-1. I thought that was an interesting take. Now, in order to go 10-2, and to be clear, I'm not saying we have to go 10-2. I'm not predicting us to go 10-2. I feel really good about 8-4. I feel like 9-3 is potentially achievable. I mean, Indiana won 11-1, so you never know. But we're talking about 10-2 because Joel Clatt thinks Nebraska is going to go 10-2. He believes Nebraska, in order for this to happen, has to be 7-1 after the first 8 games, which I believe is accurate. If we're going to even attempt 10-2, all right, and you can text in and say, why are we talking about 10-2? We just won 7 games last year for the first time since 2016. I understand. But I actually think Joel's really good at what he does. Like Josh Pate, Joel Clatt, those are my top 2 go-tos for national college football. And obviously he's clearly talking about Nebraska here. And then USC, he kind of outlined as the most important game on the schedule in his opinion. So we'll dive into some of those things in a minute. Let's start with he's always won at least 10 games, Matt Rule, in year 3. I knew that, but I hadn't really thought about it before. How much does that factor in to you think the odds of Nebraska at least winning 9 games, if not 10 this year? Like when you're factoring in, oh, okay, all right, we know about the jump, and now you actually hear this said out loud, this specific stat. How much does that factor in on your opinion as to whether Nebraska wins 8, 9, 10 games or more? Jake?
It factors in significantly as far as the offseason optimism that a lot of these things are going to fall in the right direction. Nebraska's got, a roster of not quite great players, but a lot of good players. And so in order to do that, we're going to have to see them develop into and have a few of them turn into great players. And so, there are reasons to believe they could and could not. But no, this is a huge reason why I continue to say it is that Nebraska did not hire Matt Rule for 2023. Nebraska hired Matt Rule for 2025 and beyond because that's what his resume speaks to. That's what it says, he's going to do. And so here we are. And I think everybody feels like you're in a comfortable position that they could take that next jump. And it's not just that it usually happens that way. So the first 2 years at Nebraska, kind of somewhat similar to kind of what happened at Baylor and Temple. Now Baylor and Temple, they had worse year ones. You had, more of a tough thing to take over there. But it's also just kind of the steady, hey, year one wasn't what you wanted to be. Year two, just kind of hovering just above 500. And then year three is the breakaway. We've stayed on pace thus far. Let's not change now.
So let me play devil's advocate because, all right, Temple and Baylor, he won 10 games or more in year three at both those places. He also had a bigger jump from year one to year two at both those places because he won 1 game and 2 games at both those places. And then you could argue had a year 2 jump to 6 wins and 7 wins. Now, we got to 7 wins last year, but it wasn't as big of a jump from year 1 to year 2 because we went from 5 wins to 7 wins. And technically in the regular season, it was 6 wins. But you've got to factor in the bowl game to get to 7. And I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Again, I don't just try to look at the corner of the picture that we like and we want to see and hear and look at. I try to look at the whole picture. Does that kind of change anything at all? Because Nebraska, the cupboard was not anywhere near as bare as it was at Temple, and the situation was not anywhere near as dire as it was at Baylor. So does that factor how you view any of this at all? Since the floor wasn't as low here at Nebraska year 1. The jump wasn't quite as high as in year 2. Does that factor into how you look at this potential year 3 jump or not?
Maybe a little bit, not too much. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think you're still just kind of on pace. I think if anything, you might look at the conference record in year 2 for Nebraska. That might bother me more so than anything because the conference record at Temple and Baylor, they got to 4 wins. This year they got, this past year for Nebraska got to 3. And that's not a whole big difference, but it's kind of the small difference you look at that maybe could rattle the plan. I don't see it as big of a deal. Maybe you'd feel better, but I just didn't want to go through the 1-11 or 2-10 season to begin with. So it's one time I'll say I was kind of happy with 5-7 at least as compared to those year ones for Matt Rule before.
Yeah, I think that I think it's hard because let's be real. It's all fruit, but we are comparing apples and oranges because the AAC and the Big 12 is different than the Big 10. And the Big 10 is different than the Big 10 was back then even. So while it's all still fruit, it is apples and oranges. So there's not a little bit of projection here. There's a whole lot of projection here, and we all know that. Here's a couple of things. Like the defensive line has been talked about quite a bit as far as you've got to replace Nash. You've got to replace Ty. You've got to replace Jamari Butler. He's not talked about as much, but we have 0 returning starters from a year ago. Not a whole lot coming back from the 2 deep. Okay, Cam Lenhart has started some games. We've got some other guys who started games, but not a whole lot who started games in the Big 10, so to speak. Now, that doesn't mean they can't be good football players. I hadn't started my first game, Jake, until I started my first game. Everybody's got to go through the process. I'm not saying they can't be good football players. I'm just saying it's fair to say we don't know what to expect out of them as we sit right here, right now. But here's something that I think has been overlooked. And this isn't just the running back. This isn't just the offensive line. This is the running back and the offensive line and the passing game because it all goes hand in hand when it affects directly the running game. If you don't have a vertical threat in the pass game, you can load the box. If your offensive line ain't blocking, if your back ain't that good, it all goes hand in hand to this stat I'm about to drop. All right, the top 2 rushing performances since 2016 over the course of a season. All right, Devino Zigbo, 2018, 1,082 yards. Okay, and Anthony Grant in 2022, 915 yards. Since 2016, just 3 running backs, not 1,000 yards. Since 2016, just 3 running backs have eclipsed 750 yards. We've got to have a run game, and it's obviously not going to be quarterback centrally focused with Dylan Raiola. But even when we had a run game, it was Adrian. It was Luke McCaffrey when he got those couple of starts. It has to be centered around the running back. We've got to have an effective run game, starting with the offensive line, continue to the running back, which will then balance out play action, pass game. The pass game sets up the run game and the like. This is something that I don't think's been talked about enough, and this is going to have a huge impact on the pressure put on Raiola. Can teams load the box? Can they blitz? Can they not? How balanced do we have to keep defenses? How on their toes can we keep them? And if we can run the ball with the freaking running back and win the battle up front in the trenches, that's going to impact everything on the entire offense. I don't feel like that's been talked about enough. What say you, Jake?
Well, I kind of want to throw a question at you because I agree with you. They averaged around 130 yards rushing last year. That was 96 in the country. Obviously, not very good. You want to get a lot better than that. And I thought, like, okay, what's a fair goal to aspire to get better? And you hope the whole offense gets better. But I said, like 150. That's a 20-yard jump. That's a pretty good jump. But would that be enough? Because historically, teams, if you get to 200 yards rushing, you're generally going to win a football game. Now, we get to these 57, 55 shootouts in the Big 12. There's just yards going everywhere. I don't know what the stats say on that. But for Nebraska, 200 yards is kind of that mark. And I'm not going to expect 200 yards from this offense. That'd be too big of a jump. Do you think 150, 20 more yards than they had last year is a good goal or an achievable goal?
Yes and yes. I think it's achievable, and I think it's a good goal. I'm still curious what exactly the offense is going to look like. Holgorsen, he said it's not going to be his typical offense in the past, a little bit more pro-style-esque. All right, and 2 years ago, we had the number 2 rushing offense in the Big Ten. Then we dropped to 96 in the country. So where are we? Who are we? What are we going to be? What is the focus? Now, if you know Holgorsen's history, yes, he prefers to pass the ball, but his run game, they average over 150 yards a game historically throughout his career, his offenses, and actually way more than Nebraska averaged a season ago. So for me, 150 yards is not only achievable, it is the bare minimum of what I would consider acceptable for us to even try to be a balanced offense. And if we can have at least 150 rush yards a game, I think that's a huge difference. You're like, it's only 20 yards. That's 2 first downs. You have any idea how big an impact 2 first downs can make in a game, especially when are those first downs? When do they come? Can you run the ball when you have to run the ball? 3rd and short, 4th and short, 3rd and goal, 4th and goal, 1st and 10. Is it 2nd and 9 or 2nd and 3? So for me, it all goes hand in hand. And this is one of the big impact makers, the run game and how it affects everything. Now, all of a sudden, you control the clock. Now, all of a sudden, your defense is fresh. Now, all of a sudden, if you don't have a whole lot of guys, let's say we have a really good 3 defensive linemen, but the depth isn't quite there. It might be, I don't know. But it's not there yet because we do have question marks. Now you don't have to play as many plays. Now, all of a sudden, the defense can be fresher. It all goes hand in hand. Real quick. What do you, and we did a segment about, 3 or 4 weeks ago on this. What do you consider, if you had to pick the 4 most important games on this schedule? And I've actually changed my mind from that day. And you changed my mind, and then Joel changed my mind as well, actually, to what you had said that day. What do you consider to be the 4 most important games if Nebraska is going to get to 10-2? And what is the most important game? Because Joel said USC. What is the most important game? I will say this. When he said November is not that tough, what is he talking about? That is the one thing I was like, I don't know what you're talking. I'm not on the same page with you as that. But go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, I think he got lost in his words there. He said, November's not very tough. USC is the toughest by far. Oh, Penn State, that's the toughest by far. So I think he just kind of got lost there.
Yeah.
But it will be difficult. When you narrow it down to 4, that is even difficult because then you almost have to concede defeat to Penn State, right? If you beat Penn State, and I always argue that could be the biggest for Nebraska's momentum if you take a step away out of the Big Ten footprint. That's like a national victory that everybody's talking about that could, really change things. So, but I think if we're talking about staying along those lines of getting to 10-2, you do somewhat concede defeat there. And so I do think USC, Iowa got to be included in there. I've talked about, I think Minnesota is a big one. I don't want to underlook them. Michigan's not one I would necessarily concede defeat, and then Cincinnati, but that's 5. So I got to cut one out. I think I would say, and this is almost just going to assume that you beat Cincinnati, but I would say Michigan, Minnesota, USC, and Iowa would be the kind of the swing games I think this year for Nebraska.
You make a great point. There's 6 games that stick out to me immediately, just going through the schedule in order that we'll play these teams. Cincinnati, Michigan, Minnesota, USC, Penn State, Iowa. Those are the 6. If I'm going to narrow it down a little bit, because I had Minnesota in here. I think that we gotta freaking beat them. And I don't want to hear, if we lose to them, we had to go to Maryland, then we had to go on a short week and play at Minnesota on a Friday night, because that's what we're going to hear. No excuses. That being said, I'm going to go Cincinnati. We should win. I think about if we don't, right out the gate. Okay. So Cincinnati, I'm going to go Michigan. There's a certain level of disrespect to saying, yeah, we're not going to bring our head coach to that one, and probably a true freshman quarterback in your house, and we still think we're going to win. Plus, it's a big brand name, obviously. So Cincinnati, Michigan. I'm going to take Minnesota out of this one, which it's just I'm mad at myself for it. But if we're going to narrow it down, we got to narrow it down. USC would be the third one, and we are getting USC at home after they will have played what will be 3 top 15 teams, at least what we expect teams to be in the preseason rankings anyways. So the fourth one, you're right. Like it's Penn State or Iowa. It's like, all right, if we beat Penn State, that's a big deal. Kind of like if we lose to Cincinnati, that's a big deal. I'm just going to go with Iowa. Okay, for now. I know. You can get mad at me if you want, but I'm going to go with Iowa. So the 4 games are Cincinnati just because we need to win it. And it's the first game, and it's so unpredictable. Michigan, USC, because it is winnable. It is winnable. All right, we'll have more info as November 1st and that game rolls around, obviously. But then Iowa. All right, official prediction. Does Nebraska go 10-2?
Unfortunately, I wouldn't bet my house on it. I'd love to see it. I do think. I mean, I'm kind of with you though. I think I feel good about this team getting to 8 wins. I think 9 wins is very achievable. I wouldn't be completely floored by 10-2. I mean, I'd be happy. I'd be really happy. But I wouldn't be so completely shocked by it. But it would be hard to bet on it.
Again, I'm just going to remind people, I am not predicting this. I'm also going to remind you, Indy frickin' Anna went 11-1 last year. Like, what is going to happen? I'm not going to predict 10-2. I feel really good about 8-4. The real question is 9-3. That's the real question. Yes or no on 9-3. I feel like that's a more fair, harder question.
Well, to kind of round it back to the most important game, it'll come down to Iowa. It always does.
All right. We have to answer, though. No ducking it. It will come down to Iowa. I agree.
With my confidence level, again, if I did have to bet the house, I'd probably go under 9.
I was going to say 49% of me says 9 wins, so that means 51% says 8-4. And again, to be clear, I'd be all right with that. Like, we're moving in the right direction. Everyone keeps talking about the jump. That's great. I'm all on board for the jump. I feel really good about 8-4, though. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Are kids better off in an intact family? You bet they are. This is Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Kids living in a household with married parents do better in school, they're emotionally healthier, and they're more likely to stay out of trouble with the law. If you're in a troubled marriage, of course you should do everything you can to save your marriage, if only for your kids' sake. This includes considering alternatives to divorce. Of course, in some circumstances, divorce is unavoidable. In either case, if you're a man facing a crisis in your marriage, let us help you at Cordell & Cordell. Remember, we're the partner men can count on.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Lincoln area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in downtown Lincoln, Cordell & Cordell, 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska, 68508.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
We interrupt this commercial break for an important story.
There once was a man from Nebraska who went searching for food in Alaska. When his stomach was rumbling while laying in bed, he could think of only one option, Führer's cheese spread. So he left at once and drove day and night to return back home for cheese spread delight. Now his stomach is full and the voice in his head tells him no more vacations without Führer's cheese spread. Find yours today at most local grocers.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see a chance of showers and storms. Otherwise, partly sunny, breezy, and hot with a high around 98. Tonight, a chance of showers and storms, below around 71. And tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms likely throughout the day. An afternoon high around 90. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clatt for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Several irrigation contractors in Lincoln go out of business every year, leaving sprinkler system orphans begging for service. The folks at Judson Irrigation shed a tear for these little fellas. They've been coddling these orphans for more than 40 years. From redesign, repairing, replacing, and restoring, remember the Judson Irrigation Orphanage.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Play ball!
Pitch the perfect idea for a family outing or date night with tickets to the next Salt Dogs game. Nothing says summer fun like an action-packed evening at Haymarket Park. Come root for the home team with a hot dog and a cold drink. Plus, visit saltdogs.com to learn about special events and promotions, including group discounts. Don't miss out on the thrill and excitement of a Salt Dogs win. Visit saltdogs.com to reserve your tickets today.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show. We are joined at this time by a special guest, a man who not only led Nebraska in interceptions his senior season, he also led the conference. He also has 25 years of college football coaching experience. Mr. Kenny Wilhight, how you doing, my friend?
What's up? How are you, Adam?
Dude, life is good. I appreciate you taking the time. So there's a bunch of questions that I want to dive into. First one out of the way, because you coached with Frost. All right, what are your reactions to some of the things that he's had to say recently pertaining to coaching, Nebraska, and et cetera?
Man, it's been a struggle. It's been crazy listening to some of the things that he's said since he's been gone. Some of the comments that have been made about it. My take on it, I listened to Jay Foreman yesterday, and I think Jay made a good point. Frost coming back should have reached out to guys he played with, and had a meeting with them. But also the guys that were on staff with him that had ties to Nebraska, and lean on them a little bit more. I think he should have taken the high road by saying, things didn't work out. the way he quite planned. He appreciated the opportunity he had to come back and work here as a head coach. Because as you know, he was a great player for the university, won a championship with the university, and I think some people on the station have also said, put those things aside, the records speak for itself. So with that being said, I think he should have taken the high road and worded it a little better. Now he's put it out there. Now he's got a target on his chest. So it's tough to read. It's tough to read and hear him say those things. But as a guy that was on his staff, you know, some of the things you hear, unfortunately, they're true. So he made his bed. He has to lay in it.
Why do you think he doesn't take the high road? Or just move on? And I know the question was brought to him, what'd you learn from Nebraska? But why does he take the answer that direction? And it's not the first time he's done it since he's been at UCF. And when he's been asked questions, why do you think he continues to do that?
Somebody asked me, is he that arrogant or does he know? I think he needs a PR guy. I think he needs somebody to help him. Is it arrogance? Some of it is. Is it? I think he needs to be humble. I think he needs to bite his tongue sometimes. Sometimes you may say things that you regret after you say them. You do things you regret after doing them. But in this situation, the high road would have been a much better out for him.
Yeah, for sure. And we're now at a point where it's been a couple of times. It's not just one time as well. But I just want to get your quick thoughts on that. Now I want to move forward. Okay, because Joel Clatt, we just played a clip this last segment. He thinks Nebraska will go 10-2 this year. That's pretty lofty. Obviously, we've seen teams, I pointed out, SMU, Indiana, who surprise everybody every year. What are your thoughts on Nebraska's potential, and I'm going to phrase it this way, of taking that typical Matt Rule year 3 jump, which to me is winning at least 9 games from 7 a year ago, if you're going to talk about a jump?
I saw that too. 10-2 is a high number. I mean, the schedule is in Nebraska's favor. As an alum, I'm going to always root for the university. Everybody keeps talking about Matt Rule's year 3 and how he done it at Temple, how he done it at Baylor. This is a different university. This is University of Nebraska. You're in the Big Ten. You're in a different conference. 10-2 is up there. I looked at the schedule the other day, and I'm like Bach. I heard Bach. I can't say 9. It's hard for me to say 8 because there's always going to be a team to sneak up on you. Week 1 would be week 1 and 2 will be the telltale factor. And down the stretch, you know, there's some tough teams down the stretch. I heard you say USC is winnable. If you look at USC's roster compared to Nebraska's roster, I'm pretty sure USC has a little bit better talent than University of Nebraska. Now, talent doesn't always win games. So it's going to boil down to coaching. Can they outcoach Lincoln Riley? Can they scheme enough to keep those athletes off balance? So there's a lot of different factors. There's a lot of question marks going into the season, special team, defense. I know you have Dylan Ryota at quarterback. You have a lot of different puzzles on the offensive side of the ball. O-line play, and can Emmett Johnson be that workhorse for you?
It's interesting, Kenny, too. I wanted to ask you because I saw this list come out that had the top 25 players in the Big Ten, even had 10 extra ones, and Nebraska wasn't on there. When you talk about the talent for Nebraska and on this roster, and obviously, there's a ceiling, kind of compared to that talent. You mentioned how much important coaching is going to be, but it just feels like there's a whole lot of guys ready to break out and become that next level that they can be. Do you think that this talent on the roster is that of what we're kind of talking about, of rising up and winning 9-10 games?
And again, you said there's not a Nebraska player in the top 25.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So there's a talent discrepancy, not only in the Big Ten, but around the country. So if you don't have any players on the Big Ten top 25 list, somebody knows something, right? So again, it's going to boil down to, some of it's going to boil down to coaching. Some of it's going to boil down to schemes. And then you got to factor in some injuries may happen. Is there talent on the roster to win 8 or 9 games? There's a lot of question marks. I mean, like I just said, defensive side of the ball. Offensively, can the O-line hold up and protect Dylan? The receivers they brought in, are they as good as they are on paper? They played in a different conference. Again, this is the Big Ten. So there's a lot of question marks going into it. And again, the telltale factor is there's not a Nebraska player in the top 25 in the Big Ten.
So there's some things Nebraska obviously needs to improve on quite a bit. There's obviously some question marks. There's obviously some things to be optimistic about. Mike Eckler on special teams. I legit expect our special teams to be noticeably to considerably better. If you could pick one thing and say this is one thing that Nebraska is definitely going to be better at that will have the biggest impact on whether we win or lose more games, in your opinion, what would that one thing be?
Quarterback play. Now you have an OC that's been here a year with him now. It'll be a year, almost a year going into the season. Not a year, but they've been together long enough. You have a quarterback's coach. You don't have a guy. The mechanics should be better. As you watch his mechanics dip mechanically, he should be better. I think knowing what he and the OC Dana wants to do, them two guys should be on the same page. And I think that play should be a lot better.
That's interesting. You referenced the mechanics of Dylan Raiola, because I agree with you as far as the improvement and needing to be improving and making a big impact on us winning more games. What did you see when you watched Dylan? He's a young quarterback, teenager, true freshman a year ago. You expect him to get better, including mechanics. But what did you see from his mechanics specifically that you would like to see improved this year?
Just the sidearm release of his ball, throwing off the back foot. Again, he has a strong arm, so he relied on that strength of his arm, throwing off his back foot, throwing sidearms. Now, some of the sidearm throws were pretty good, but some of them that's when the ball floated on him or it got away from him. So mechanically, I think he should be a lot better this year. And he's a great football player. I think he's a good leader. And I think that he should have a breakout year as long as the O-line can hold up in front of him.
Dude, I think you make a really good point, because a lot of times when you're really good at something, like with Dylan, you have a really strong arm. Maybe you rely on that strong arm and you don't focus as much on the fundamentals and basics because you can get away with having a strong arm. Kind of like sometimes we have a really fast quarterback, they'll take off if there's an opening rather than staying in the pocket. And maybe they aren't as good as going through their progressions and reads as another quarterback who can't take off and run. So you make a very good point of just getting better at basics and fundamentals, and then you throw the physical talent on top of it. That could be a huge difference maker. I wanted to thank you for showing up, coming out to the camp yesterday, coaching the kids. So I really appreciate that. I think everyone had a blast, but I wanted to get your thoughts on your experience at the camp. What did you think, and what was your takeaway?
I loved it. I enjoyed it from the time I walked through those gates, seeing your kids and your wife involved and other people volunteering their time. But I think it was a well-ran camp. We knew where we were supposed to be. We knew what time we were supposed to be. You got started on time. You stayed on track. And I think overall, the kids had a great experience. And like I told my group when they got to my station, your parents paid a lot of money for you to be at this camp. First and foremost, you need to thank those guys, parents or whoever got you here. Then you came here to learn and have fun. And I think overall those kids really took to the coaching, not just at my station, but talked to other coaches that had stations. They took to the coaching. They had fun. And just hearing the feedback after the camp, I commend you, brother. I appreciate you having me there. I felt home in my element, being able to have the whistle and teach those kids. So I commend you. That was a great camp. And I think you can take that and build on it.
Dude, it was fun because I walked around and watched all the stations, watched the coaches, and it was funny. I could tell, like when you were setting up the cones and you had the kids going through drills, I'm like, he feels comfortable out there. Like this is what Kenny loves to do. So that was pretty cool. But you had 3 keys, and I forget exactly how you phrased it. You mentioned it because we handed out camp MVP balls at the end of the day. But you had 3 keys that you were telling the kids, and I don't know if you'd be cool with kind of sharing that with our listeners out there. What were those 3 keys that you were sharing with the kids that as they came through your station?
I also applied this in school and in life. First and foremost, They didn't know us. They hadn't been coached by us. There are some youth football coaches that you had who I think did some great things also. But the first thing I told them was being able to listen to what we were telling them, how to do a certain drill, how to take a certain step. Listen, then being able to retain it. And what I mean by retain it means remember it. And the third thing was being able to execute it. So every station, I would start that off with those three words, and then ask them, what was the three things we're working on? Listen, retain, execute. And for the most part, all of them were able to remember it and do it. And even when we got over to hand out the MVPs, the guy that I thought was a really good player, not only a really good player, but I think he was a teacher because he took upon himself to help other kids out doing the drills when he saw them taking the false steps or not shuffling right. I asked him, I put him on the spot. He knew it, but he couldn't recite it. And I think it was the pressure of being in front of all those people. But listen, retain, and execute. And that's, I think, Nebraska has to do that. Going back to Nebraska, they have to listen to the coaches. They have to believe in the coaches. Be able to retain what they've been taught, not from spring ball, summer, leading into fall, and then being able to execute. If they can't do that, then you won't have a 9-10 win season. It all boils down to, can they execute what the coaches want them to get done?
Dude, that's a phenomenal point. When that ball's kicked off August 28th on ESPN versus Cincinnati at Arrowhead, can they execute what they've been working on all offseason? All right, my friend, thank you for taking the time to join us today.
I appreciate you, brother. Thanks a lot.
All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Several irrigation contractors in Lincoln go out of business every year, leaving sprinkler system orphans, begging for service. The folks at Judson Irrigation shed a tear for these little fellas. They've been coddling these orphans for more than 40 years. From redesign, repairing, replacing, and restoring, remember the Judson Irrigation Orphanage.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage, 402-420-6277, or judsonirrigation.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, 2-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at WindowWorldLincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We learn you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street, family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Western Sand and Gravel is hiring for a variety of positions at their sand and gravel plants near Ashland. Apply today and receive a $2,500 hiring bonus. Available positions include plant operators, dredge operators, and shop service technicians. They offer great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, paid holidays, and paid time off. No matter your experience level, on-the-job training is available to help you build a rewarding career with Western Sand and Gravel. Start your career today. Visit westernsand.com.
KLATT Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. KLATT Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at KLATT Trucking. Learn more and apply today at KLATTrucking.com.
We interrupt this commercial break for an important story.
There once was a man from Nebraska who went searching for food in Alaska. When his stomach was rumbling while laying in bed, he could think of only one option, Führer's cheese spread. So he left it once and drove day and night to return back home for cheese spread delight. Now his stomach is full and the voice in his head tells him no more vacations without Führer's cheese spread. Find yours today at most local grocers.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Hi, folks. The weather is for sure heating up, and Koppel Chevrolet GMC is following suit. The discounts are really as good as they've ever been. $14,500 off list price, or 0% financing on select new models. Folks, you heard that right. Smoking hot deals at Koppel. $14,500 off list price, or 0% APR. So take that short drive down 144th Street or at koppelcars.com. STK number G269520. All deals with trade-in and approved credit.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. We got to go fast. Imagine me talking quickly. Jake, what do we got off the text line?
I just thought this was kind of an interesting thought here from Gorilla Bear, who says, we should also be mentioning Matt Rule historically doesn't beat top 25 teams, which will be quite a few teams on the schedule this year. This, of course, in the talk of whether Nebraska will get to 9 wins, 10 wins.
All right, so who do we expect to be ranked? All right, not Cincinnati, not Akron, not Houston Christian, probably Michigan. So there's one. Maryland, maybe? Not Maryland. No. I meant Minnesota. Maybe. Yeah. Probably not, though. USC is a possibility, although they got question marks all over the place. Penn State, Iowa. So 4 strong possibilities. A Minnesota could pop up. Maybe somebody else is ranked. Is it fair to say we'll probably play 4 ranked teams this year, maybe?
It's tough. I mean, I think you feel that's the whole question mark, right? Is will USC be ranked at that time? Will Iowa be ranked? I mean, those are tough to say. I mean, I think Penn State and Michigan for sure.
I'm going to say 4 because who knows? Maybe Maryland. I keep saying Maryland. I mean Minnesota because Maryland's not going to be great this year. All right, Minnesota, they could pop off and get a few wins. You never know. UCLA, Nico Iamaleava starts to take off. He's got some talent. Going halfway across the country, traveling 2 time zones. All right, when we play at UCLA and Pasadena, that's not going to be easy, whether they're ranked or not. If you remember, UCLA, didn't they beat Iowa right after they beat us a year ago? I'm pretty sure that's correct. And I remember sharing a stat. Big Ten teams who traveled 2 time zones. And at the time I shared it, they were 0-9 at that point. Now, there are obviously some teams won, but the win-loss record was awful. So there's a lot of these teams, a lot of these games are going to be difficult, all right, just in general, despite being whether they're ranked or not. I project we play 4 ranked teams this year, and Matt Rule, 2 career wins and 20. I'm just going to say 20 plus losses versus ranked teams. He's never beaten a Power 4 ranked team, just for perspective as well. How big of a factor do you think that is? Because if we're going to talk about his history and the year 3 jump, and it's fair to expect this, do we just want to cherry pick things? What do you think of this, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, you factor. I mean, it's a huge deal because I think that along with Nebraska is going close to a decade now. They have a 27 straight loss as a top 25 team,
Yep.
so it is a huge obstacle. It's almost one we kind of put on the back burner, right? Is because we're going to see overall growth in the program first, and then we can kind of get to those top 25 wins. But it's going to be something that maybe if you do take that step, then you start to talk about it there. But hopefully it can happen all at once. You cross some of those obstacles off all at once. By beating a Michigan early on in the season, then you don't have too much to talk about. And everything you're talking about is ancient news because you just beat a top 25 Michigan. So I think it is something that is often overlooked again, because there or maybe is that first initial jump that a lot of people want to see before you kind of get into, are we one of the top 25 teams? You got to be one of the top 40 teams before you're one of the top 25 teams, right?
It's almost like when people just don't want to talk about something, so you just kind of ignore it, and then you get used to ignoring it. It absolutely factors in, whether it's Matt Rule. And again, you don't beat your first Power 4 ranked team until you beat your first Power 4 ranked team. The first one is the hardest. So I do expect it will be a little bit easier after you get that first win. Nebraska, as you pointed out, hasn't been a ranked team in quite a while in our own right. So it's one of those things where I do think if you just completely ignore it, you're just kind of burying your head. But at the same time, we're not going to play a million ranked teams. I look at the schedule because I thought Kenny made a good point. When it comes to talent, Michigan, if you look at the roster, maybe more talented than us. USC, he pointed out, Penn State. 9 of the teams, of the 12 teams we're going to play, I can look on paper and say we have more talent than. So that's where coaching factors in-game adjustments factor in. How do you handle pressure situations? How do you play in big games? Again, I feel good about 8. I know not everybody does. Some people feel good about 9 or 10. I feel good about 8. I'm rooting for 12-0. We'll see where we land. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a glorious, Thursday afternoon. And I will see you fine folks tomorrow. Go Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the bones.